Hello there, Adam Bazalgette here, founder of Scratch Golf Academy. Today we're going to look at the golf swing of Hideki Matsuyama, the brand new Masters champ. Great swing, obviously. We're going to look at 4 things I think you can apply to your swing that he does really well, and 2 things I don't think I would recommend for the average player. We'll get into that, show you drills, and have a look at this great swing. Very briefly, if you're new to this channel, maybe you've watched videos but haven't subscribed, I'd love it if you do that. Helps us build some momentum. Hit the little red bell as well, then you'll be notified every time a new video is coming your way. Well, people make a lot out of this pause Hideki has at the top. He's actually reduced that a little bit. To me, that isn't critical. Why isn't it critical? Because the ball does not react to the pause whether you do it at the top of the backswing or not. It reacts to impact. Now, I'm not saying there's not some meat on the bone there or there isn't a point of discussion, but what he does well, and this is what we want to focus on, through impact, he stabilizes the club, gets the club in a position where he can really support the shaft. We'll get into that, compresses the ball well. Before we show you that and some drills I think will help you do the same thing, let's look at give a brief overview of his swing. We'll look at 2 things I think that would be difficult to copy and I wouldn't recommend. So let's have a look there. I'd say that's a fairly weak left-hand grip, but obviously doing the job for him. Stands fairly close to the ball as well. We'll get into that a little bit later in the video and how that applies. But let's have a look at the nuts and bolts. Beautiful one-piece start to the swing. Look at his chest, arms, and shoulders working together. Just takes it right into a good slot. And then you'll see he does something that great ball strikers, and he's a long hitter as well, he really compresses down into the ground there, leaving the club in place for a fraction of a second. And from there, he can really work that body through the shot in a very dynamic way. Here we are again, nice one-piece wide swing there, everything together. Everything meaning trunk and arms really working together against some resistance in the lower body. There's that squat and bang. Now, 2 things I think might be difficult for the average person to copy and I wouldn't recommend. If you watch his right hip, right thigh and right knee, that is a lot. Look at that right knee. That is a lot of resistance. In other words, it just doesn't go back very far. The knee stays almost exactly where it was at address. Not quite. Hey, that's fine, but for most people, they're not flexible enough to really do that and create a good turn with their upper body. The other thing is he keeps his head down a long time. And again, there's nothing wrong with that. But for most people, geez, if they kept their head down that much, they couldn't get nearly that sort of body dynamic motion through the ball, and they couldn't keep their arms that straight. Okay, in the backswing here, take a pivot if you're in front of the computer or something, no club, hands on shoulders. You want to be able to get your back to the target for sure, but you want to create some resistance between your upper and lower body. Most people couldn't keep their right leg as still as he does and their right hip as stable and complete a good turn. So figure out for yourself, it's not the main thrust of this video, what is a good blend for you where you can complete your backswing without feeling too strained, but at the same time create some resistance. Okay, how about this forward swing? Is it important to keep your head down? I actually have a whole video on that here at the channel. The ball, again, doesn't really react to where your head is. We certainly don't want an unstable axis where the golfer's going up and down, that's for sure. But it's much more important that you can keep your arms stable and get these hips thrusting and turning. That is going to do a lot more for your golf shot than just arbitrarily staring at the ground after you've hit the ball. So again, you have to customize this. I would make some little swings and say to myself, okay, when my hands are about chest high, can I be facing the target more or less with my belt buckle with a little push in my legs like that, a little push off the ground? Can I keep my arms stable? And if so, hey, if I can do that with my head down, it's pretty hard for most people to do that, then head down it is. And then hit a few little shots like so. Get myself a good lie there. This is an 8-iron. I mean, I'm looking comfortably at the target, but I certainly don't sense I've raised up. So customize those 2 things. Now let's look at the things he does well. As I said earlier in the video, he supports the shaft. There's 4 ways he does that. Let's get into it. So what is supporting the shaft? Well, it really just means, hey, this club's at high speed. This thing's whipping at this point. He's able to keep it stable at the critical moment. That's not so easy to do, but it's magic when you can. He's hit that, but the ball's probably a foot off the club face. And that thing is still in line with that lead arm. So how does he do that? Again, it's not easy to do when the thing's at high speed. Well, first thing, have a look on the left. This first of our 4 things. He stands pretty close to the ball. I mean, his arms are hanging straight down. They're not jammed in between his legs, but he's pretty close to it. That helps him, through impact, feel those arms. You back it up 1 frame, close to the body. The club's heavy again at high speed. You want your triceps up against your ribs as you go through. Second thing you can see here on the left, he's working the glutes and hips hard through the ball. This is the powerhouse, the abs and glutes through the ball, and they have to be active. And here's the thing he's doing, though. He stands close to the ball. This is one of the things I want you to copy. But his hips, let's put a little line right there. His hips don't crowd in. They push back, if anything. They're even deeper at the impact moment than they were at address. So he gets the best of both worlds. That is to say, he's got connection and he's snug here, but his hips as they work stay back out of his way. Next thing we'll see from here, a de-lofting or a bowing of that lead wrist. So important. First off, you can press the ball a lot better. We'll see how to do this in our drill just upcoming. But secondly, if this wrist starts to cup, it's the same really as the club getting out of control and maybe not flipping isn't the term, but becoming unstable. So stable lead hand de-lofted. And finally, you look at his arms through the ball. I mean, they are structured. So many people, the arms get soft and squishy and they widen through the ball. You can't control the club at that sort of speed unless you have some stability in your arms. All right, as we start to work on this impact, it's no good me telling you what I think you should think about. You have to feel stuff for yourself. So we're going to use a firm object here. We're going to use my golf bag. It could be a bag stand, the bottom of a cart tire. There's a lot of things, the bottom of the range bucket for that matter. Get to impact position or get to address position, turn it into an impact. Here's the keys from this view. Stand reasonably close to the ball, arms straight down, no more than a fist width of space. Two things you need to feel. Number one, as you compress and bend the shaft against the bag, in the case of what I'm doing, feel your triceps squeeze up into your rib cage. Number two, we talked about how his hips create some space. If you're going to set up fairly close to the ball, you've got to have some space nonetheless. Feel that off the lead foot, you push off the ball of the foot, push the glute back, and you will start to feel your weight go towards your lead heel. So you get the best of both worlds. You get a snug feeling, close to the ball, triceps against the body, but push there so that you can feel some depth in your hips. Great combination. Let's have a look from here. Okay, two drills as we look at it from this angle. Same drill as we were just saying, but in this case I've added a golf ball to whatever you're pushing against, and what you're going to get the feel of there is how you can take the sweet spot several grooves up and tilt it against the ball. It really helps foster the proper feeling for this hand. In other words, I'm not trying to squeeze under the ball and have the ball pop up in the air. I'm trying to compress it. Another thing I want you to try when you do this drill, put your arms in a soft, wide position. I see so many students and golfers do this. Try to push there. You'll feel it's not nearly as effective as if they're squeezed together and stable. And again, that feeling of triceps against body is a great one. Next thing you want to do, this is drill number two. You guessed it, hit a couple of little shots and hold the position, but here's the key. Let's say you would chip it 30, 40 yards. Let's say you do one and it doesn't look very good in your arms and wrists. Stabilize it and put it where you want to. For this drill, we're about tummy high with the hands, maybe club just below hand height, obviously engaged in the hips. That's the key. Keep learning that position. Don't just hit one and try another ball. I was forced to do this, so to speak, by one of my boyhood teachers for years. He would say, hey, get to the top, he would say, get to the finish. If it isn't good, you don't do anything till you've balanced it and you've held it for 3 seconds. Memorize the feel. Let's try it one more time. Fat shot. Pretty good finish though, nonetheless. Let me try it one more time. I'm not finishing on that one. That was nice there, and I can really start to foster that feel. Telling you, impact's what it's about. Certainly it isn't separate from every other thing in golf. There's other things that contribute to impact, but memorize a good impact like this, like Hideki does. You will be a lot better off for it. I would love a thumbs up if you liked the video. Hope it was helpful to you, and again, if you can apply those things to your game, the things Hideki's doing well, you'll really see some progress.